Joel Sherman here with three things I'm thinking. I usually do this when I wake up in the morning, put some thoughts together and go. I just got back from the Yankee game, worked the clubhouse, wrote a column, and while it's fresh in my mind, I decided let's do this tonight. Hopefully you'll get to see it before game 2 on Wednesday, which now can be the last Yankee game of the season. And with number 1 here, why don't we go to the obvious place? Everyone's going to question Aaron Boone's wisdom in when he took Max Fried out of this game. And I think it's hard to ignore that there's a dual thing going on here. Alex Cora let his ace, Garrett Crochet, go to a career high 117 pitches. It got him into 2 outs into the 8th and able to hand off directly to his closer, Aroldis Chapman. And he trusted a guy who, on his final pitch of the game, threw the hardest pitch of this game. Garrett Crochet, 100.2 miles per hour to freeze Austin Wells with a runner on, and preserve what was then a 2-1 lead. And it's a 2-1 lead because we got to go back earlier in this game for Boone's decision not to ride his horse, not to ride his ace, Max Fried, who's by far his best pitcher at a time of year where I know we've turned away from starting pitching, but we saw it with Tarek Skubal today and Blake Snell. When you have an ace, you got to ride your ace at this time of year, protect your bullpen for maybe other guys. Let's set up the situation. Fried breezed through 3 innings, and then had to work very hard in 2-on, 2-out situations in the 4th and 5th. And therefore, in the 6th, when that turned into a hard-working inning and there was a 9-pitch walk to Carlos Narvaez, perhaps Fried had struck him out on a curveball earlier in the at-bat. He didn't get it. It goes to 9 pitches. He walks him. At that point, Boone decides that he is going to this is going to be the final inning for Fried because he's thinking he's going to have to face 2 more batters. And the second of the 2 batters, Jarren Duran, who at that point is 0 for 12 in his career against Fried. So he's thinking Fried could get out of this inning. I'll get him out after this point because of how hard he works. But it turns out that Fried gets a double play ball from Nate Eaton. And at that point, Boone decides, I'm going to send him out to get Duran to open the 7th. And I think the mistake there by Boone is he shouldn't say to Fried, you're there to get this guy. He should have said, you're there to get at least that guy, and then read the moment. And Fried does get Duran, makes a nice athletic play, getting to first to take up a throw from Paul Goldschmidt to retire the very fast, running hard Duran at first base. And at that point, Cedane Rafaela is coming up, who's 2 for 13 in his career, 2 singles, no walks against Fried. But Boone is pre-programmed, and he's going to go at this point to Luke Weaver. And look, it's a small sample size, but Ahmad Rosario has good career numbers in a very small sample size against Crochet. And Boone started him on that small sample size instead of Jazz Chisholm at second base. And in this case, Rafaela he's 2 for 6 with a walk against Weaver. The 2 are homers. Weaver gets ahead 0-2 on Rafaela. And then Rafaela, the bat really begins. Give him credit. There's 5 2-strike foul-offs. And after the game, Weaver said to a couple of us in the clubhouse, I didn't want to throw him a cookie. That's a way of saying he knows he's given up a couple of homers to this guy. He sees him fouling off his best pitches. So even though Rafaela is one of the hardest guys to walk in the sport, Weaver is nibbling instead of attacking now and ends up walking Rafaela. Then there's a double after that, run against by Sogard against Judge's arm, which is still questionable. And then Yoshida, a 2-run single. It's 2-1 Boston, and Boston goes on to win 3-1. Boone even afterwards defended this. Of course he did. But this felt like one of those decisions where he's not feeling the game. And so to me, let's just go to number 2 here, which is it's hard to ignore the 2 Alexes, the Alex Cora, Aaron Boone thing. They were hired in the same year, right? Cora to manage the Red Sox in 2018 and Boone to manage the Yankees. This is the 3rd time they've faced in the playoffs. Cora's team won the first 2. The first time in 18, they went on and won the World Series. Look, at this point, there's a pretty clear narrative. When the Yankees play against the AL Central under Boone, it's 5 series. They're 5 for 5. They're 15-4 in total. Everyone else who's not the A's, who they beat in a one-game playoff in 18, they're 7-19 and haven't won a series. And now that it's 7-20 because they're down 0-1 here. Aaron Boone has not shown that he can get his team to beat up a heavyweight at this time of year. If it's a weak AL Central team, the Yankees are good. The Red Sox went into Yankee Stadium tonight, stood toe-to-toe, two aces going great, and Boone made the move with the blink. He took his ace off the mound. Cora rode his ace, and it's hard to ignore that this is where they are. And that leads to number 3. The Yankees could still save their season. They've got have a 2-game winning streak now over the Red Sox on Wednesday and Thursday. That's it. If they don't, their season will have gone 2 or 3 games longer than the Mets, who were a total disappointment. The history of these wild card series is whoever loses game 1 loses the series. It happens very quickly. A lot of pressure on Carlos Rodon, and then if they get by that on Schlittler, they still have home field advantage. Judge hit the ball well tonight, but not out of the ballpark. Yankees hit the ballpark out of the ballpark once today. That's the only run they got. They had Crochet in trouble in the first inning. They got first and second, no out, no big hit. They had Chapman in trouble in the 9th inning, 3 straight singles, and they don't score another run. The Yankees are so addicted, the ball either goes over the fence or they have trouble scoring. And so they better get some home runs against Brian Bayo and, maybe the weaker part of the Red Sox bullpen, which perhaps will be in the games on Wednesday and, if necessary, Thursday. But again, now we're throwing open the bullpen question. Weaver didn't throw well. Clearly, after this game, Jazz Chisholm, who's a very engaging guy with reporters, did an interview with his back to reporters where he mumbled. And he kind of said, well, manager's decision, doing what he thinks to win a game. He clearly was annoyed that he was not starting. It seemed an interesting time to kind of do this passive-aggressive protest against Aaron Boone, but now this is part of a storyline as well. The Yankees could still pull this out, but this is not what they've done at this time of year under this administration. And this either changes or we're going to be having the Aaron Boone discussion again in 24 to 48 hours.